Seiya Suzuki let his bat do the talking as the Cubs put an end to the Red Sox 10-game win streak out of the All-Star break. And Quinn Priester, he was dealing in L.A. for the Brewers against the Dodgers. MLB Game Night, every game, every night, and we are underway.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
Welcome in, everyone. He is Lindsay Crosby, host of the Locked On Braves postcast. You can follow Lindsay on the X at Crosby Baseball. I'm Steve Lenox, host of the Locked On Red Sox postcast. You can follow me on the X at Lenox on Baseball. Lindsay, we've got a lot to get to. We're going to hear from Jake Mastriani about Ronald Acuña. We're going to get your thoughts on his wonderful throw across the field to cut down a Yankees base runner during the Braves victory on Friday night. We're also going to talk about Quinn Priester. We're going to talk about Kyle Stowers. He is making a name for himself down in Miami. Latest edition of the MLB Locked On Game MLB. Let's get that right. Locked On MLB Game Night, every game, every night. We are presented by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So we're going to open up Brewers, Dodgers in Los Angeles. The Brewers out of the All-Star break, one game back of the Chicago Cubs in the National League Central, Lindsay. The Dodgers leading the way in the NL West. They stumbled a little bit down the stretch getting to the All-Star break, but Quinn Priester was the big story in this one on Friday night from Milwaukee as he tossed 6 scoreless innings. And our guy, yes, indeed, we've got the Brewers side of this, Chuck Freeman, locked on Brewers as they get the victory in Game 1 in La La Land.
I really think we're at a point with the Milwaukee Brewers. We got to stop idol worshiping some of the teams they're playing. I hear talk about, well, the Brewers can't go into the Dodger Stadium. They just can't get swept. You know, a couple of weeks ago when the Dodgers were here, we just can't get swept. BS to that. Hey, everybody, Chuck Freeman, instant reaction, Locked on Brewers. We got to get it to our heads that the Brewers are one of the best teams in baseball. They're certainly playing like it right now. They're 17 games over the 500 mark. They're 4-0, dominating the Dodgers with their pitching staff. Tonight it was Quinn Priester. 3 hits over 6 innings, strikes out 10. Quinn Priester goes to the Dodger Stadium, puts the Brewers 4-0 against the big bad Dodgers this year. How about that? Let's just go for the sweep in LA. How about that? Let's really send a message to Major League Baseball and sweep these guys. But an amazing last 6 or 7 or 8 weeks so far, and I don't see this team letting it up. Man, they play solid defense. The pitching is there, and they just keep winning games. They stay a game behind the Cubs in the NL Central. We'll talk about all this in the next edition of Locked on Brewers. Please subscribe.
Lindsay, right there, you know, MLB Network had the Dodgers, so Joe Davis and Oral Hershiser, and they were very complimentary down the stretch final couple of innings of this game of Milwaukee. They don't beat themselves. They great defense. Chuck mentioned the pitching all season long has been there, and they get just enough offense to take the series opener.
I mean, all year, it feels like all they've done against winning teams is win. I just pulled it up real quick. 29-22 against teams who were over 500. It's one of the best marks in baseball. And the Brewers have done this for like a decade now. We just think that they're going to be in second or third place. And they somehow they have these win streaks. They get fantastic pitching contributions. They play a really fundamentally sound brand of baseball, like you said, defense and speed, base running and all of that, and they work it out. And I thought they were dead a month and a half ago. The Brewers are as inevitable as we always joked about the Houston Astros being.
And they get the bunt down when Pat Murphy says, get a bunt down.
Yeah.
Add that into everything that you just rattled off, which is 100% correct.
Yeah, I mean, it's they need to do small ball. They can do small ball. If they need power, they've got a Contreras brother. They've got Jackson Chourio, Christian Yelich, Rhys Hoskins. They can hit home runs. They need to rob some home runs. They can do that in the outfield. They do everything you need. The bullpen's great. I think it was Trevor Megill had his 22nd save of the night with a 1-2-3 ninth here. They got a home run from Caleb Derby. They shut out the Dodgers for the first time in over a month, Steve. June 6th was the last time the Dodgers got shut out. It's just Tyler Glasnow took a loss with 1 earned run in 6 innings. It's wild.
And that's great to see from the Dodgers side. You mentioned them getting shut out 5th time this year. Glasnow, 6 innings, 1 earned run, struck out 6. You like the walk total, just 1 for the Dodgers. It's going to be interesting how this series plays out the rest of the way because the Brewers, you've got, Chuck said it, you've got a sweep on the table as you take game 1. Right now, worst case scenario, you want 2 out of 3 in this series.
You do. Can I real quick? I know I want to talk about the rest of the series, but I found a great stat on this one.
You did.
Quinn Priester tonight is the 3rd visiting pitcher since 2020 in Dodger Stadium to go 6+ innings with no runs and 10 or more strikeouts. That list is Yuri Perez in August 2023, Max Fried in September 2023, and Quinn Priester tonight. That is not a group I thought I would be putting Quinn Priester into. But to Chuck's point, the reverence for these super teams is gone if you're the Brewers. They think that they can beat anybody.
And they've won 8 in a row for the 2nd time this year. Now, season high, 17 games over 500. Let's move on. Another division leader, the Toronto Blue Jays in action, home, opening up weekend series against the Giants. They win it 4-0. Jays are now 14-4 over their last 18th. Their 7th-team shutout of the season. Chris Bassett, 10-4 with the victory. Did you have Bassett with 10 wins before we hit August 1?
I did not have Bassett with 10 times the number of wins of Justin Verlander. We're getting to that in a minute. But, I mean, it's a great rebound for Chris Bassett. And I feel like he deserves this. He's kind of one of he's been a quiet veteran. He's been above average his whole career. I don't know if he's ever been an all-star. He's never been seen as one of the best pitchers in his division. But he's pitching so fantastic right now. Again, no runs in 6 1/3. Yes, he gave up 10 hits, but it didn't matter. And I mean, this team has just been fantastic. They're getting vintage George Springer, 3 hits and a stolen base. A lot of the youngsters are contributing. Will Wagner, who, they got from the Astros last year, Nathan Lukes, Joey Luperfido. It's a great story for Toronto. I hope they can keep doing it all year because it's a fun team to watch.
On the other side, Justin Verlander takes a loss. 0-8 on the season, 2 2/3, 9 hits, 4 runs all earned. Walk 2, and you and I, before we went live with MLB Game Night here, both were thinking the same thing. You said it out loud. Justin Verlander, 0 strikeouts.
Yeah, he 4.99 ERA on the year, but in the last 7 games, 6.03 ERA in 5 of his 8 losses. He didn't strike out. He faced 18 batters, didn't get a single strikeout in this one. It kind of feels like we're hitting the end of the road of Justin Verlander. I know he wanted to pitch until he was 45, but it feels like when you see a game like this where it's just hard contact after hard contact, he can't fool anybody, he can't buy a whiff. Feels like we're running out of time on Justin Verlander here.
It was a great Friday for the Blue Jays. Not only do they shut out the Giants in the series opener, they pick up a game on both the Yankees and the Red Sox as well. We'll get into Red Sox Cubs at Wrigley Field from Friday afternoon in a moment. But right now we go with Lindsay's Locked On Braves postcast and his Braves. We're going to hear from Jake Mastriani in just a moment as well. But Stacy, host of Locked On Yankees, a little bit upset with the fact that the Yankees open up out of the break with a bullpen game and Ian Hamilton getting roughed up by Atlanta in the very first inning.
So the Yankees' first half ended on a bum note when they lost 2 out of 3 to the Cubs. So maybe you were thinking to yourself, okay, they get to rest during the All-Star break. Well, some of them got to rest during the All-Star break, and maybe they'll come out strong against the Braves, who haven't been that good this season. Nope. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias of Locked On Yankees, and the Yankees didn't come out strong at all. They punted the game before it even started. They didn't have a starter. It was a bullpen game. Within 2 batters, Atlanta was up 1-0, and it just went downhill from there. And there was no way the Yankees could come back from a 7-0 deficit. They tried. It was 7-3, and they could have made it 7-6. Aaron Judge. It didn't happen. This is just the story of the season. They can't get out of their own way. We're going to discuss this and the rest of the series on the next Locked On Yankees, but it's the same old, same old.
You know, that right there is something I should have
That's
been
Cy.
using over the years. That sigh right there is something I should have been using over the years with two teenage boys. Lindsay, coming out of this, 7-3 the final. Braves were up 7-0. Spencer Strider pitched well. Ronald Acuña Jr. making a tremendous throw from right field to cut down a Yankees base runner at third base. We'll talk about that. We're going to get your side of it on the other side of Jake Mastriani. And Jake right now, as you know, provides no hyperbole with what we saw from Ronald Acuña Jr.
Braves get a 7-3 win over the New York Yankees to kick off the second half of the season, and Ronald Acuña Jr. reminded everybody why he is still the best player in all of baseball. Jake Mastriani here from Locked On Braves, and what a start to the second half for Ronald and the Atlanta Braves offense, something we haven't seen enough of this year out of that group. But Ronald, what a night for him, a hustle double, a hustle triple, and the most incredible throw you will ever see on a baseball field. You have not watched it, go back and do so. All the way from the right field corner, threw out a player at third base, tagging up from second. Just absurd. He is just extremely talented. And even if the Braves' second half isn't what you hope for, you got to tune in every night to see a Ronald Acuña Jr. And he is just, you never know what he's going to do on a baseball field. And on this night, he showed everybody why he is still the best in baseball. We talk more about this game over on the Locked On Braves postcast and the next episode of Locked On Braves.
Have at it, because you saw it live. I only saw it multiple times on social media, and I'm glad I saw it multiple times. When I say multiple times, it was 5+.
Yeah, so Jorbit Vivas is on second, and Cody Bellinger, lazy fly ball into the right field corner, and like Ronald's a step or two off the right field line. He's got his back to home plate when he catches the ball, and he just turns flat-footed, throws this ball on a line directly to the third baseman. Doesn't take a hop. Third baseman never moves. Vivas has no idea the throw is coming because the third baseman kind of dekes him. He just stands there. Last second, makes the catch, applies the tag. I've watched a lot of Ronald Acuña Jr. outfield assists, and he's now like 2 off of the MLB lead, and he didn't debut until late May. I don't know if I've seen a better one than this, simply because it looked so casual. He catches the ball. He doesn't circle and get behind it and have his momentum. He has his back to the infield. And he just turns all arm and just fires an absolute strike that I think we estimated had to be around 300 feet. Perfect strike to get the out. And the biggest thing there was the next batter, Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is on deck when he does it. And you go from Aaron Judge batting with 2 runners on base to Aaron Judge batting to lead off an inning with nobody on. That was the big deal for Atlanta in this one. Although they got Judge to strike out 3 times in this game.
So Jake alluded to it, and get your thoughts real quick on this too before we move on to Cubs and Red Sox at Wrigley on Friday afternoon. But 20th sellout of the season at Truist Park. You're 10 under 500. Maybe you're not in contention for a wild card spot in the National League the rest of the way, but you've got Ronald Acuña Jr. that you can bring your kids to the ballpark and see. There's going to be a handful of more sellouts. You're not going to see empty seats at Truist Park.
Oh yeah,
that's more true than false.
True. They do a great job, especially like on the weekends, of getting great crowds. And Ronald did more than just that. He had a triple with a 99th percentile home to third base time. Like, it's just the entire team is playing better than they were early in the year, and it's tons of fun to watch. And I totally get people wanting to go because you never know what Ronald Acuña Jr. is going to do. He might hit a leadoff home run. He might hit multiple homers. He might throw a guy out from the right field corner. You just never know.
That he has no business throwing out. But
Exactly.
Again, it's Acuña making that tremendous throw and a bad base running mistake by Bibas as well. We opened up with the Brewers. They remain a game back of the Cubs in the NL Central. The Cubs snapping the Red Sox 10-game winning streak that they did right up until the All-Star break. 4-1 the final, and the Cubs led this one 3-0, 3 batters in, as Lucas Giolito walked the first 2 batters, then gave up a 3-run home run to the non-All-Star Seiya Suzuki. More on the victory for the Cubs, and really more of the same winning formula, as Sam Olber from Locked On Cubs explains.
Baseball is back, and so are the Chicago Cubs. I'm Sam Olber from the Locked On Cubs podcast, and the Cubs return to second-half action on Friday at Wrigley Field against the Boston Red Sox with a 4-1 victory. Colin Ray is now 13-4 in his 17 starts this year for the Chicago Cubs. Combine that with a Seiya Suzuki 3-run homer in the first, and you have your formula for the success of the 2025 Cubs. An unsung hero on the mound combined with one of the big hitters delivering, whether it's Seiya today, Bush, Tucker, PCA, that's been their success. And to be honest with you, they had a couple home runs taken away. Dansby Swanson should have had 2 home runs today. That was taken away by the wind. PCA hit a ball really well, but the Cubs have played well this year in those type of conditions. Good starting pitching, just enough hitting, and then the bullpen held it down and closed it out. Let's see if they could win this series tomorrow and clinch it.
Bayo and Imanaga go in game 2 of this series. Lindsay, just real quick on this one, doing the Locked On Red Sox postcast, a lot of the comments were simply, wow, didn't know the Cubs bullpen was as good as it was in the opener.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing this on the strength of some of those youngsters and the bullpen. Kyle Tucker doesn't have a homer in the month of July. He's batting 196 in the month of July, and they are still in first place, and they just beat the Red Sox. It feels like this is probably them and the Tigers are the 2 most complete teams in baseball, and I didn't think it'd be Central Division teams we'd be saying that about.
Wrap it up with Tigers and Rangers in Arlington Friday night, opening up their weekend series. Corey Seager, 2-out, 2-run double in the 8th inning. That was it. Rangers beat the Tigers 2-0. Each team 4 hits apiece. Top 3 hitters in the lineup for the Tigers: Torres, Jones, Green, combining to go 0 for 12 with 6 strikeouts. Tigers shut out for the 6th time this season. They've now lost 5 straight games. Kyle Stowers playing the role of hero Friday night for the Marlins. We're going to hear from the passionate one, Jeremiah Geiger, when we continue with MLB Game Night.
Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. Because if you're already following the action, and if you're somebody who listens or watches Locked On MLB Game Night, you probably follow the action every single day. Why not make it a little more thrilling? Why not have a rooting interest to this fantastic pitching matchup that you're going to be looking out for? That's a thing for me and Steve. We like to look at the best pitching matchups for each day. Now, when you're going to tune into that game, if you have a feeling about how it's going to go, you can go ahead and get a little action on that. Maybe it's a same game parlay. Maybe you place a bet on the game and you watch it right into the 9th inning. With FanDuel, you can feel like you're a little part of the action. So if you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started.
All right, back at it. MLB Game Night, every game, every night. The Royals, the Marlins, let's start with the Marlins here on their side. They blew the lead in the 9th inning. They end up walking off in the bottom half of the 10th inning. Kyle Stowers, again, playing the hero. The passionate one is now how I'm going to refer to him, because our guy, Jeremiah Geiger, as excited as we have seen him all season long, and Kyle Stowers is the reason why.
There is no hitter on the planet hotter right now than Kyle Stowers. It's Jeremiah Geiger from the Locked On Marlins podcast. This game shouldn't have been in extra innings. Calvin Fauché blew the save. Lake Bacher gave up a couple of runs. The Royals were up 7-5 entering the bottom of the 10th, and it felt like the Marlins would lose. But Kyle Stowers is unstoppable. He walks it off with a 2-run jack. Marlins win 8-7. My voice is gone. Let's go Fish. Let's go, Stowers. I'm on top of the world.
I love Jeremiah so much. On the note of how hot Kyle Stowers is, the last 7 games, he's batting .579 with 5 home runs. The last month, he's batting .359. He's not joking. Kyle Stowers is nuclear right now. He has 11 homers in the last 30 games. He has 5 in the last 7.
You know, Denny Matthews, longtime and Hall of Fame broadcaster for the Kansas City Royals. There's a quote that I loved, and I put it up in the broadcast booth when I worked in minor league baseball. Not my job to scream. It's my job to tell you what's going on, and then you scream. And I think Denny, when he said that, Jeremiah probably wasn't even born. But he had Jeremiah in mind.
Yeah.
As Stowers wins it in the 10th inning against the Royals, who are not going in the right direction. One more on this one from you. Seth Lugo, Sandy Alcantara, both sort of, hey, in the old days, 10, 15, 20 years and way beyond that, you had scouts in the stands scouting these guys from clubs who might make a trade at the deadline for either Lugo or Alcantara. Neither one really impressed all that much on Friday night.
Combined 9 runs across their 6 innings each. The big thing, Sandy only struck out 2. Like, it's just Seth Lugo gave up 2 home runs. It feels like they're both going to get moved at the deadline, and probably for a lot less than you were thinking they were going to get moved for. And that's, I think, the biggest surprise of all for both of these teams. I don't really know. Like, Sandy struggled since coming back from Tommy. I don't know what Lugo's issue is, but both of them have disappointed all year.
So in Philadelphia, Angels, Phillies opening up a weekend series at Citizens Bank Park. Bryce Harper hits 2 home runs. Kyle Schwarber also homers, but Angels hold on for a 1-run victory, much to the happiness of our guy, another co-host for Locked On MLB Game Night. John Frisch has the details on the Halos 1-run victory.
The 47-49 Halos came into the second half of the season with something to prove to their fans, to baseball fans, to themselves. What's going on, everybody? John Frisch, one half of Locked On Angels. The Halos came into this game against the Phillies in a bullpen game, and it made all of us quite nervous coming into it. But despite the powerful offense of the Phillies, the Angels answered back every time. Kyle Schwarber hits a solo home run in the bottom of the first. Jorge Soler hits a solo home run in the top of the second. Joe Adell hits a 2-run home run after Bryce Harper hit a 3-run home run. Mike Trout singles in a run, and then Taylor Ward puts this game 6-4, so that way the Halos have a little bit of room despite Bryce Harper's solo shot in the bottom of the 8th. Kenley Jansen comes in, and the Angels get the win behind the bullpen 6-5. So, good start so far. They got a tough road ahead against the Phillies, the Mets, the Mariners, and the Rangers. So if they got something to prove, well, maybe tonight was the start of that. 6-5 win over the Phillies. That's a good place to start.
John mentioned Kenley Jansen there as he got the job done in that 9th inning, retiring the side in order and made quick work of the Phillies as well in that 9th inning.
Yeah, and Philly's the weirdest team to me, right? Harper hits 2 home runs. They get the home run from Schwarber. They do the things they're supposed to do, and they still just can't seem to get the win. This is the 27th time Bryce Harper has 2 home runs in a game. You know how many of those he's lost?
Ooh,
tonight,
500.
I just pulled the numbers. Shout out to StatHead, to Baseball Reference for this. In the 27 times he's done that, tonight was only the 7th time his team has lost. And it's the 3rd time he's done it in Philly and they've lost. It feels like this is the game they should win. They get a bunch of homers from the studs and they somehow still lose. And that's kind of emblematic of Philly's season this year.
Angels, if they can win on Saturday, they'll get to 500 for the first time since July 3rd. They got to 43-43 with a victory against the Atlanta Braves. This is one out of the break. You had 4 days off. You rest your bullpen. Phillies used 6 pitchers total. The Angels used 7 pitchers total to get the 1-run victory.
It's too much. Like you gotta trust your starters a little bit here, especially knowing going into Saturday for Philly, Taijuan Walker's your starter. He's not been very good. He's not giving you length. I think Philly really mishandled tonight's game. They should have let the starter go a little bit deeper than they did, and I think it's going to hurt them in this series.
Segment number 1, we talked about the Chicago Cubs ending the Red Sox 10-game win streak to open up out of the All-Star break. We mentioned the Brewers. We opened up with the Brewers and Quinn Priester shutting out the Dodgers 2-0 on Friday as well. Another team from that NL Central, the Cincinnati Reds, picking up a victory in the opener. They came back and actually throttled the Mets bullpen a little bit as they took the opener in New York. Our Jeff Carr with the details.
Matt McClain, get hot. What's up? This is Jeff Carr from the Locked On Reds podcast. And the Cincinnati Reds lineup clobbered the New York Mets pitching staff on Friday night. Actually, Sean Manaea really didn't do all that bad, but after he was pulled, the Mets bullpen got bludgeoned by Reds bats, specifically Austin Hayes, who had 2 home runs on the night. You had a homer and a double from Matt McLain, a homer and a double from Tyler Stevenson, a multi-hit game for Ellie De La Cruz plus an RBI. Just a wonderful night at the ballpark for the middle of the Reds order. 2, 3, 4 just got it done. Plus, not to be outdone, TJ Friedel on base 3 times because he got hit by a pitch. Hope he's getting a lot of ice right now. But, man, that was a great game for this lineup. The kind of game that really wakes you up for that second half. And not to be outdone, Nick Lodolo pitched amazing. That's the kind of Ace 1B stuff that we have been looking for from Nick Lodolo. Hopefully he continues that as well. Great start. Let's see if they can get a series win.
Great start. And, they're going to be, they're going to knock on the door. They're not going to go away, I don't think. And I might have been Sirius XM MLB channel of, Terry Francona, first year Phillies, Red Sox, Guardians, Indians at the time. They always played better. They always played winning baseball second half of the year after the All-Star break in his first year with the club.
It's that adjustment period where he has to learn the team has to learn him. They have to understand the expectations, what he wants them to do, and be able to execute on his vision and his idea. And I think you're going to see this team. It's a lot of young position players. Like, he's going to have a bigger influence on this team than he would on, say, Philly, full of veterans and things like that. I'm a believer in the Reds in the second half. I think they can charge if the pitching holds. They can charge towards a wild card. And I do think Matt McLain getting that 2-run homer, that's a big part of that because he's been really disappointing this year, batting only .213 because they keep him right there, second, third in the lineup.
And another guy, stay healthy, Matt McLain. You could certainly put that in front of his name as well. A little rapid fire to wrap up segment number 2 here. Orioles, Rays. Rays needed this one. They thumped the Orioles 11-1 in Tampa, Florida. The win for the Rays, snapping a 4-game losing streak. Chandler Simpson, 3 hits. He's now hit safely in 17 in a row. Yandy Diaz, 3 hits, a grand slam. Junior Caminero, a couple of home runs, 4 RBIs. And Taj Bradley, 6 innings of shutout baseball for a 6th win on the season as well.
Yeah, Charlie Morton was having a resurgence season after being demoted, but 7 earned runs tonight and 5 1/3. White Sox at Pirates. White Sox win this one 10-1. 3 runs in the first, 4 more in the 7th. Just Jonathan Cannon was probably the best start of his career. 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 run, only strikes out 2, but doesn't walk anybody. And Pirates ultimately 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position. They're 1 for 9 in their last 10 games. They're now 20 games under 500. It almost feels like a crime to have a pitcher the caliber of Paul Skeens and to just have punted on 2 full seasons now. But they just can't seem to get anything going. Meanwhile, the White Sox, Luis Robert gets a solo homer, Edgar Quero gets a homer. Like they're showing signs of life and like they might be better next year. And it's just the Pirates should be there too.
Mariners opening up a series at home in Seattle against the Astros, still looking up for that division lead with the Astros leading the way in the AL West. And hey, Mariners able to pick up a game in the standings. We'll have the details next. It's MLB Game Night. All right, Lindsay, segment number 3. You just went over the Pirates picking or getting thumped by the White Sox. We're going to get into Seattle and Houston here in just a moment after we talk about the Guardians and Athletics. And the Guardians, they with all the other teams that were hot at going into the All-Star break, you kind of sleep on the Guardians a little bit. But as Justin Latta says, Justin, very impressed with how they came out of the break. And we hear from Justin Latta from Locked On Guardians.
8 runs and they win the first game coming out of the All-Star breaks. Fast were on fire early. That was good to see. A little bit tight late in the game. It's Justin Latta of Locked On Guardians. The Guardians get their first one out of the break. The offense stays hot. Jonathan Rodriguez's defense tried to blow it at the end, but he did hit a home run, so that was good. The offense was good early. Slade Ciccone took the game into the 9th inning. Had a shot at the Guardians' first complete game, 9-inning complete game all year. Best thing you could see from this team coming out of the break. Slade Ciccone going deep into the game. The offense getting hot early and hanging on at the end. We'll see if they can keep it going like they were before the break on Saturday. Tune to Locked On Guardians for more.
All right. Justin mentions Ciccone there. And I actually watched that short before I looked at the box score. I don't know that they hung him out to dry, but he goes 8 1/3. He ends up giving up the 3 runs in the 9th inning. So his final line, 6 earned runs over those 8 1/3. That looks ugly. ultimately. But again, he did work into the ninth inning.
That's a 1996 stat line if I've ever heard one. 2 strikeouts, 2 walks, 6 runs, and 8 1/3. He goes 107 pitches. I think that was something where, like, if you look at the way the ninth inning unfolded, it really got away from them late, really quickly. I think if they had been maybe a little more aggressive at pulling him, this is an easy win. This is this is something like, instead of being 8-6, it's like 8-3. You don't even think about it. But they had to get Emmanuel Clase up in a hurry in that ninth inning. And so that's why it was closer than you thought it was. I'm fine with the decision at this point. He was under 100 pitches going into the ninth. Let him go out there. And again, it just got away from him really quickly.
Guardians have won 3 in a row and now 7 of 8 after losing 10 straight games. Brent Rooker, triple home run, 21st of the season. That off Ciccone in the 5th inning as well. Mariners Astros opening up a series in Seattle Friday night. The Mariners take this one, Lindsay, 6-1. And this is a series that's at home. So they're now 4 back in the division. So they pick up a full game. But really, you'd like to sweep this series. And if this got to 2 games, I think I want this to happen because I'm hopeful that this is going to be a division race with Houston and Seattle the rest of the way.
Yeah, I mean, you got great pitching on both sides. Brandon Walter takes a loss with 1 earned run in 6 innings. But just a situation where, like, you got the pitching. Luis Castillo had a shutout for 6 2/3. Cal Raleigh didn't hit a homer, but he stole a base. He has 11 stolen bases this year. First catcher in team history with 30 homers and 11 stolen bases. They need to win, like to your point, they need to win this series simply because they don't really have the pitching advantage in the rest of it. They have a TBD on Sunday, and they need to make up the ground. And this is the place where they can do it, is at home when offense is at a premium. They had a big 4-run inning off of the bullpen in the 8th. But they need to win these home games in the division to have a chance to make the postseason. Because I feel like if you don't win the West, you're not going to make the postseason in the American League.
Yeah. I'll take Padres, Nationals. You take Cardinals, Diamondbacks.
Deal.
And then we wrap up Twins and Rockies. Nationals tied it up 2-2 in our nation's capital Friday night in the 8th inning. C.J. Abrams, a home run. Elias Diaz breaking a 2-2 tie in the top of the 9th inning for San Diego with a sac fly. Manny Machado then a grand slam, his 13th career grand slam. 5 runs across in the 9th inning for the Padres. They win 7-2. James Wood 0 for 3, a walk, 3 strikeouts, 13 Ks total for Padres pitching.
Diamondbacks cruise at home against the Cardinals 7-3. They scored 3 runs in the second. They scored another 2 more in the third. Brandon Pfaadt, 7 scoreless, 4 hits, no walks, 6 strikeouts. The Cards, Andre Palante got whacked for 6 runs and 4 2/3. We're about to be shut out. They get an RBI single and a Victor Scott homer in the 9th to make it 7-3, but ultimately they dropped this one, and now they need to rebound tomorrow.
Rockies, 4 straight extra base hits, and scoring 4 runs in the first inning against the Twins. They hold on and win against the Twins 6-4. Kyle Freeland, 2nd win of the season. Now 2-10 in 18 starts. The team 4-14 in his 18 starts. I feel like Kyle Freeland's going to see, the percentages say he's going to have a better second half win-loss record. I'm going out on a limb there.
I think somebody might try to trade for him and think like, hey, he's got to be better outside of Colorado.
Agree,
and
100%.
He would welcome that.
Yeah. Hey, that's going to do it for this edition of MLB Game Night, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get your podcast. MLB Game Night, every game, every night. Lindsay and I are back Saturday night, early Sunday, as we take you around the majors with MLB Game Night.